Hello students, this is Dr. E back with you again. In today's lesson we're going to talk about dimensional interconversions. Essentially that means converting from one type of unit to another type of unit. Converting centimeters to inches, converting pounds to kilograms, meters to miles, even cups to pints. Things that we have to do quite often in our daily lives, not just in science, but in other areas, in trade, in cooking, in the sports world. Anytime we watch the Olympics, we have to be able to convert the kilograms to pounds so we'll know how much the weightlifter is lifting. And to explain this, I want to go back and talk about a thoroughbred. Yes, use an example of Secretariat, probably the most outstanding thoroughbred horse of all time, the winner of the Triple Crown in 1973. And I want to show you a video of Secretariat in the Belmont Stakes, a 12 furlong track. And in our exercise that follows, we'll be converting between furlongs to miles, converting time in seconds to other units so that we can calculate miles per hour. But let's take a minute to watch Secretariat and this race.
Belmont Stakes. Everybody's in line and they're off. Looks like the early lead goes to My Gallant. Yes, My Gallant going for the good position on the rail, and in fact he's now going up with the leader. They're moving for the first turn. It is Secretariat. Sham on the outside is also moving along strongly. And now it's Sham. Sham and Secretariat are right together into the first turn. My Gallant has third behind them. Then it's Twice a Prince, and the trainer is Private Smiles as they go by the turn. Those two together, Sham on the outside. Sham getting ahead in front as they move around the turn with Secretariat second. Then there's a large gap. Make up 8 lengths back to My Gallant in third and Twice a Prince fourth. And Private Smiles is still the trailer. They're on the backstretch. It's almost a match race now. Secretariat's on the inside, by a head. Sham is on the outside. They've opened 10 lengths on My Gallant, who is third by a head, with Twice a Prince fourth. Then it's another 8 lengths back to Private Smiles, who is trailing the field. They continue down the backstretch, and that's Secretariat now taking the lead. He's got it by about a length and a half.
Well, we paused the race about halfway through, and as you can see, it was close for a while. Secretariat and this other horse were close to each other, but I bet you know the outcome. We want to calculate how fast Secretariat was running in more familiar units, like miles per hour. The Belmont Stakes is noted to be a very long race for thoroughbreds, 12 furlong. Usually horse races are 9, 10, maybe 11 furlongs in length, but the Belmont Stakes is 12 furlongs. Secretariat won this race in a world record time of 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So let's calculate the velocity. Velocity, of course, is distance per time, but let's calculate it not in furlongs, but in miles per hour. Well, first we have to deal with a furlong. What is a furlong? If you've watched other lessons, we've talked about units of distance, and we've included a furlong. It's a very old unit of measure, and it's associated with the definition of an acre, which is a measure of the area of land. A furlong is 220 yards. Well, how long is 220 yards? I like to give examples in terms of things that we know and can see. A football field is 100 yards, so a furlong is more than 2 football fields in length. How many of you ran track in high school? Raise your hand. Well, that's quite a few of you ran track. And if you ran track, you may have run the 200 meters, or the 400 meters, or 800, or the 1600 meters. Well, the 200 meters is approximately 220 yards. In fact, in the old days, before we converted things to metric, we ran the 200, the 220, the 440, the 880, and the mile. Now those are the 200, 400, 800, and 1600 meters. So a furlong is 220 yards, or about 200 meters, and it turns out that 1 mile is equal to 8 furlongs. 8 times 200, 1600 meters. 1 mile is 8 furlongs. Now, when I was in high school, I also ran track, and I'll share with you that I was not very good. I was not in Secretariat's class. I may have been able to outrun our school secretary, Miss Bottomley, but certainly I was not very good. In fact, I was sort of a training aide for the coach and for our district champion miler. I remember that the coach would ask the miler to see how quickly he could lap me in the mile, and that's how he knew he was improving, by how fast he could lap me. Just you know, you can probably, but the girls thought I looked cute in the shorts. So let's convert furlongs to a mile. How do we do that? This is our first example of converting between units. Well, this is the general procedure for doing this. Let's take 12 furlongs, and we multiply it by a factor. The factor being the numbers inside of this parentheses. A factor, 1 mile equals 8 furlongs. And the way we set up this factor is we say if 1 mile is equal to 8 furlongs, we can take the ratio of 1 mile to 8 furlongs, put them on top of each other, and that is a factor that is an identity, that is equal to 1. Okay, and so we then see that when we do it this way, we can cancel out the furlongs. See? And so 12 multiplied by 1 mile divided by 8 furlongs gives us 1.5 miles. In other words, the Belmont Stakes is 12 furlongs, which is equal to 1.5 miles. So we always set up this strategy for converting between dimensions, or converting between units, by using a conversion factor in which we put what we want the final unit to be in the numerator and what we want to cancel out in the denominator. We cancel them out and do the math and get the answer in the new unit. Now that's the length in miles that we need for a calculation of miles per hour. How about the time in hours? Because miles per hour is per hour. Well, we said 2 minutes and 24 seconds. We first have to convert the 24 seconds to minutes and then add it to the 2 minutes. How do we do that? Well, you've no doubt done this before. 24 seconds, and again we multiply by a conversion factor. That conversion factor, 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. Right, that's not new to you. 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds. So we create a conversion factor which is an identity. 1 minute in the numerator, 60 seconds in the denominator, because we want the seconds to cancel out, as so that when we multiply 24 times the factor of 1 minute divided by 60 seconds, we get 0.40 minutes. Okay, now that's, so 24 seconds is equal to 0.40 minutes. Now we have to add that to the 2 minutes above to get the time of 2.40 minutes. But that's still not hours. So what do we have to do? We have to convert minutes to hours. We do that in the same way with using another one of these conversion factors. 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. Again, we all know this. So we set this up to multiply 2.40 minutes times the factor of 1 hour over 60 minutes so that the minutes cancel, and we get the answer in hours, 0.040 hours. Turns out to be a nice, convenient number. 0.040 hours. So to calculate speed or velocity, velocity is equal to distance per time. 1.5 miles, which is the distance for the track for the Belmont Stakes, divided by 0.040 hours, the time that Secretariat ran the race, and that turns out to be 37.5 miles per hour. Now, let me tell you, Secretariat was moving. How about humans? How fast does a human miler run? Well, a human miler will run maybe about 15 miles per hour, so much less. A sprinter, Usain Bolt, ran at its maximum speed about 27 miles per hour. So you can see that Secretariat over 1.5 miles was running faster than Usain Bolt ran. Well, you might say, well, horses have 4 legs, humans have 2. Maybe they should run twice as fast, but just something to think about. And in fact, horses, when sprinting short distances, can achieve speeds of up to 55 miles per hour. Well, since we paused the race halfway through, let's make sure that we are certain of the outcome. So we'll roll the tape.
10 lengths back, My Gallant tries to press. They're moving on the turn now. For the turn at Secretariat. It looks like he's opening. The lead is increasing. They get 3.5. He's moving into the turn. Secretariat holding on to a large lead. Turn is second, and then it's a long way back to My Gallant and tries to press. They're on the turn. It's Secretariat is blazing along. The first 3/4 of a mile in 109 and 4/5. Secretariat is widening now. He is moving like a tremendous machine. Secretariat by 12. Secretariat by 14 lengths on the turn. Turn is dropping back. It looks like they'll catch him today as My Gallant and Prince of Prince are both coming up to him now. But Secretariat is all alone. He's out there almost a 16th of a mile away from the rest of the horses. Secretariat is in a position that seems impossible to catch. He's into the stretch. Secretariat leads his field by 18 lengths. And now Prince of Prince is taken second, and My Gallant has moved down to third. They're in the stretch. Secretariat has opened a 22-length lead. He is going to be the Triple Crown winner. Here comes Secretariat to the wire. An unbelievable, an amazing performance. He hits the finish 25 lengths in front. It's going to be Prince of Prince second. My Gallant.
Well, as you can see, Secretariat left them in the dust. Okay. On the tape, you heard the announcer say that Secretariat was winning by 25 lengths. Actually, when they went back and reviewed the tape, they found that he won by 31 lengths. 31 lengths. Well, this raises the question, what is a length? Well, in horse racing, a length is the distance between the rear end and the nose of the horse. It's about 8 feet. So the question now is, if he won by 81 lengths, how far is that, again, in units which we are more familiar with, like yards? Now that we have 1 horse length is equal to 8 feet, we can tackle this. It is just an exercise in converting between units. 31 lengths, we multiply that by an identity factor. 8 feet is equal to 1 length. We set this up so that the length is in the denominator and the 8 feet, the units we desire, are in the numerator. So we can cancel out the lengths. Multiplying 31 times 8, we get 248 feet. Well, that's good. How about in yards? Because we're probably a little bit more familiar with the dimension of yards. To convert between yards and feet, of course, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So we set up another unit conversion factor, and we multiply 248 feet by the factor 1 yard over 3 feet, again, so that the feet cancel, and we get an answer in yards when we do the math, 86 yards. Well, 86 yards is, it's not quite the length of a football field, but it's something similar. Now, you might think that Secretariat won this race by such a distance because the other horses were slouches. Actually, if Secretariat had just run the previous or the existing world record rate for a 12 furlong race, he would have won only by 30 yards. He won the race by 86 yards. So this is one of the most outstanding achievements in sports of all time. This effort was record-shattering. So for those people who remember watching the Belmont Stakes, as I did, it did leave a lasting impression when you saw him just destroy the field. We're going to pause now and break up this lesson into 2 parts, so we'll see you in a minute.